Stillwater Planning Commission meeting of March 25th is now called to order. It will be the process this evening to call for items on the agenda. The commission will hear briefly from staff first, then the applicant and/or their representative, and then open the public hearing and hear from those in favor and/or in opposition to the request. When you come to the podium, please clearly state your name and address for the record. Before closing the public hearing, both staff, the applicant, and/or their representative will be provided an opportunity to respond, to provide additional information, and answer questions. After all interested parties have spoken, the public hearing will be closed, and we will hear remarks, closing remarks and alternatives from staff. With that, the first item on the agenda is a short-term rental, STR 0199, and we shall hear from staff first.
Good evening, Planning Commission. I'm Josh Brown with Development Services. As you stated, this is a short-term rental. This is located at 135 South Orchard Street. Here's an area map showing the property's location. It is highlighted with the pink kind of hatch pattern there. It is located near the intersection of South Orchard Street and West University Avenue, and the Westwood Overlay District begins to the west of Orchard Street. Do you have any questions for staff?
Thank you. So at this time, we'd give the applicant an opportunity to provide a little bit more information about the short-term rental, and I think if you haven't already had some prompts from staff, generally we like to kind of hear maybe what kind of rules you would have in place and that sort of thing. Oh, there you go.
I'm sorry. I'm Jeff Black. I'm the property owner. And this is our family home. We've had it for 50 years plus. What we're looking for is using one of the Airbnb or VRBO applications for that. We want to screen our guests. We're looking for families, not all parties or kids. We're going to put an age limit on it. You have to be a certain age to use the property. We're local, so we're in town. If there's any issues, we would be right there to take care of it. We are going to have a no party policy. We have sufficient parking for everyone there. No parking on the street. We have driveway on the side and a nice circle drive in the front. You know, we want to maintain and respect the neighbors. I believe, and I don't know this for sure, but the lady next door has an Airbnb in that house, so it would be next door to that. But mainly, we just want to be respectful and have a nice, family-oriented type of housing. Any questions?
Has this been used as a residence prior to the intention to turn it into a short-term rental?
No, sir. It's been a rental for 15 years. And we've never had any issues with calling the police or anything like that. We try to screen our tenants. You know, you can't always get the best tenants, but we try to get good tenants that are respectful and take care of the property and respect the neighbors.
So you're going from a long-term rental to a short-term? Is
Yes,
that your
sir.
goal? Okay. Looks like you have 5 bedrooms?
It's 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Okay. So what's your max as far as your occupancy that you think you'll allow?
I don't have an answer to that right now. I was thinking, depending on the rules of the Westwood Neighborhood Overlay, we want to try to abide by that. And there's still an issue or two that's not worked out on the occupancy of it, but probably 3 families, 2 to a bedroom, and probably just 4. We'd probably just use 4 of the bedrooms on the 5th bedroom.
Okay. All right, thanks.
So I think you mentioned you're going to have an age limit on it. Will you have like a minimum number of stays? Would you have like a 2-night minimum, or would you allow just
Yes,
a?
yes, we would have a 2-night minimum.
Okay.
And mainly it would be, I think our target market is graduation, football games, the bicycle event, local things that the city or she puts on is mainly our deal. And then have it available at times, and I'm not even 100% sure of all the events that we have here, so I'm kind of new to this. We're just trying to work it out and get it figured out.
I haven't been on this side of owning the property. I've been an Airbnb user, but some of the people that come before us, apparently you can put, and this wasn't our idea, but I'll just give it to you, is you can put a distance minimum away from here that you have to be from to rent it, which helps with the likelihood that it won't be used for parties.
Oh, okay.
So I have to be,
Excuse me, Mr. Black, marketing is saying they can't hear you very good on the microphone. Can you confirm that it's on for us, please?
I don't think it's.
Oh.
Don't be up here. I can talk louder.
Okay, we'll
Try
give
that.
that one a try.
Okay, oh, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
that was just a thought that helps
Right,
with the parties.
and I
thing.
appreciate that. And I appreciate y'all being up here too, dealing with guys like me.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, well, I think that probably concludes that portion. So I think we thank you very much, Mr. Black, for coming and sharing.
Thank you for being here.
I think we've now just have staff let us know what our.
Open the public hearing.
Open the public, I'm sorry. We'll need to open that public hearing. Thank you.
Anybody for it?
Is there anybody in the audience this evening that would like to speak in favor of this item? Seeing none, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this item. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and now we'll ask staff to return.
All right, your alternatives tonight are to approve the application, defer for additional discussion, or deny the application.
I think I think the things that Mr. Black touched on with age limit, no parties, them living in town, managing the property, those are things that we definitely look for and appreciate. So to me, this is a good representative of what we look for in short-term rentals. So I would motion to approve as presented.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, we have a text amendment. And we shall hear from staff.
Good evening, Planning Commissioners. David Barth with Development Services. As mentioned, this is a text amendment to Chapter 23, the Land Development Code, Article 3, Land Development Process, specifically Section 23-63, Plat and Subdivision Approval Process. Subsection G of 2363 currently treats residential and commercial subdivisions differently. The code now says that before a final plat can be filed for a commercial subdivision, that the improvements, and the improvements are we're talking about the public improvements, water, sewer, paving, sidewalks, that those must be constructed and accepted by the city, or the developer must enter into a development agreement with the city and provide a performance guarantee that covers the cost of those requirements. Paragraph 6 within subsection G states that final plats for residential subdivisions may be filed prior to acceptance by the city of the required improvements. And I'm not sure at what point in time our code inserted that specific section that allows for that, but that's been problematic for us to have final plats that the city accepts and then they go get filed and the improvements aren't constructed, and now the developer can go sell a lot to a third party and there's no streets, there's maybe no water, no sewer. And so we're just proposing this text amendment to make the change that any subdivision of land that before the final plat can be filed, that you have to either one, build those public improvements or enter into a development agreement with the city. And so there's a draft ordinance that was included in your packet that, you know, makes some changes to, I think mostly for this one, it's striking out language. Anyway, with that, I would ask if you have any questions, or I can just recommend present alternatives.
I don't have any questions. You do public hearing on this too, right? Yeah. Okay. Any questions from anyone? No? Okay. All right, so at this time, I will just open the public hearing and ask if we have anyone in the audience to speak in favor of this item to please come forward. Seeing no one, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience this evening that would like to speak in opposition. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and ask staff to present our alternatives.
So all the alternatives are: 1, recommend the city council approve the proposed text amendment as presented; 2, find that additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and table the request to a future planning commission meeting; or 3, find that the text amendment is not needed and do not recommend that the city council approve the request. And staff recommends alternative 1.
Do I hear a motion?
I'd motion to accept the text amendment as presented.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. Next item on the agenda is another text amendment, and we shall hear from staff.
Okay. This is lengthy. Text amendment. This is another text amendment to our city code that we're proposing to City Code Chapter 23, Land Development Code, Article 17, Required Improvements, Division 3, Improvements, Section 357, Water Distribution System, Subsection E, and Section 358, Sanitary Sewer Collection System, Subsection E. Chapter 41, Utilities, Article 4, Water Service, Division 1, Section 41-113, Tie-on Charge, Subsection B, and Division 5, Service Extensions, Section 41-244, Lease Purchase Agreement. Chapter 41, Utilities, Article 5, Sewers and Sewage Disposal, Division 11, Sewer Main Extensions, Section 41-590, Payment of Costs, and Section 41-591, Lease Purchase Agreement, and adding for Chapter 41, Utilities, Article 4, Water Service Division 5, Service Extensions, Section 41-245, Payment of Costs. Before I get into this, so I listed several chapters and sections within our code, but the Planning Commission's purview is over any text amendment in Chapter 23. So I just mentioned in this that there are changes that we will be recommending to the City Council that are related to the changes in 23 that are in other chapters of the code. Those specifically listed here are in Chapter 41. regarding lease purchase agreements. So specifically, subsection E of 23-357 and subsection E of section 23-358 basically allow a developer to enter into a lease purchase agreement with the city when it is necessary for the developer to expend funds for water and sewer infrastructure that will serve areas other than the developer's project area. So in certain cases, we've had a developer who's built a sewer line, and the location of that sewer line is such that it's extending, or it can be extended to serve other properties. And so when those other properties want to develop, that developer who built that sewer line can enter into a lease purchase agreement, and then with our current code, and recapture some of those costs by charging the new developer who wants to tie onto that sewer line to pay for their pro rata share for that service. And so the problem with that is the lease purchase agreement, the format for that and the way it's set up in our code is that the original developer owns the sewer line or the water line, and then we're leasing it from them for a period of time. I think it's 10 or 20 years. And so it's really problematic for the city to be operating and maintaining infrastructure that we don't own. We'd be cleaning it, we would be, repairing it, but we don't own it. And so we're proposing a text amendment that will clean that up. And so this has been in the process with our city attorney's office and city engineering to come up with this text amendment, but it replaces the lease purchase agreement with a utility main development agreement. And so it's a similar mechanism. It's just that the city will be accepting the utilities when they're completed, as we normally do, and there will be a development agreement for the developer and the city to enter into, to where they can still recoup some of those costs if others tie on to that infrastructure. And with that, I would ask if you have any questions.
I think the question I have is just to make sure that I understand main development. Are we talking about only main service lines, or is there a certain area at which that's defined to go to the homeowner or maybe a homeowners association if there was something?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, I'm probably going to confuse this. So
That's okay.
I know when I was looking through the sewer portion, and that would be, let me look to see where I was over here. I think it was in section 6. Page 4, yeah. And I think it talked about, and it may actually be just beyond that, where it talked about a size of line, like a 6-inch line.
Yeah, are you in chapter 23?
No. No, 41.
41.
Oh, okay.
So, never mind, I think is the answer.
Well, no, I'm not saying I wouldn't try to answer your question. I just want to make sure that, yeah.
Well, I think because we're and my question, so we're going from lease purchase to utility main development agreements.
Right.
So does that mean that there is a certain size of line which this no longer applies to if it's a utility main development, or is that just a general term we're using for anything that would be a service line?
Yeah, so it would just be main lines. Service lines, there are already rules in place, like our code does not allow 2 homes to be connected to the same water service line.
Right.
There are people that do that in the county, but inside the city limits, each home has to have its own water service line. Same thing with sewer. You can have an apartment complex that has a sewer service line, so multiple units are contributing to that through a single service, but individual homes all have to have their own sewer service line. So this would be, main. So a water main is 6 inches or larger. We have smaller water mains that exist that were built 50 years ago, but our current code says that a new water main has to be at least 6 inches in diameter. Sewer mains have to be at least 8 inches in diameter. So this would apply to those larger pipes that we don't accept.
You answered my question with
All
that
right.
explanation with the definition, so thank
Okay.
you.
You bet.
David, I just want to understand it a little bit better. I don't know
Sure.
that it really, I don't know that I need to. I'm just curious. So,
Yeah.
so the developer, they construct the sewer line in this situation, and do they sell it to the city, or the city takes ownership, or how does that work? Is it a negotiated deal?
No, so the city, if a developer installs water and sewer, they basically grant it to the city
Okay.
through the, it's just through the development process. So you basically are, for us to have customers attached to those lines, we need to own them. And so we wouldn't want to set water meters off of private water lines or,
Right.
so in other words, we don't pay them for it. We're taking that on, and then we have to maintain it forever. And then if it
Okay.
breaks, we have to replace it.
So they have to build it to a standard then that you define.
Exactly. And so, but if they build it in a location and of sufficient capacity that other people can connect to it, and they want to, enter into this agreement, then there are certain times, and this doesn't work everywhere, but there are certain situations where a developer, especially on the outer fringe where there's other, sections of land, and where I've seen this mostly used is for sewer, that a developer then can recoup some of the costs that they've, that they've put forth in building that sewer line by allowing, or I guess not, they're not allowing, the city allows other developers to tie on, but through that agreement, we're essentially providing a mechanism for them to recoup some of those costs.
Is that a negotiated deal, or is there sort of standards for that?
There are specifics. I believe it talks about the, how that works out. They would have to provide how much it costs to the city. We'd have to see invoices. And then it would be, basically they look at, for example, a sewer line, they look at, what's the area that could serve. So basically the basin that could all gravity flow into that sewer. And so let's say, it's 100 acres. And so maybe this original development was a 10-acre development. So now, okay,
It's just math.
It's just math.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. But something we haven't talked about here before that I remember. So.
Right.
In principle, I think this is a really great thing to have in our code. It's just the mechanism right now is not the best because the city doesn't own the infrastructure. That's what this really boils down to.
But acts as the owner.
Right,
somewhat.
we
Yeah.
do, yeah. I mean, because we've got customers that are tied to it, so
You have to maintain it.
we have to maintain it. And then what happens sometimes is developers will disappear. They put in a subdivision, they still own this, and we're leasing it, and 10 years down the road, they've moved on. And so,
Complicates it.
yes, very complicated then.
Any other questions? Well, if there's no other questions, I would go ahead and open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this item to please come forward. Seeing no one, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and ask staff to present the alternatives.
Yes, alternatives are recommend the City Council approve the proposed text amendment as presented, find that additional information or discussion is needed prior to making a recommendation and table the request to a future Planning Commission meeting, or find that the text amendment is not needed and do not recommend that the City Council approve the request. And staff recommends alternative 1.
I'd make a motion to approve, recommend the city council approve the proposed text amendment as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote.
Thank you.
Motion passes 4-0. Okay, that concludes the public hearing section of the agenda. The next item is meeting summary for review and possible action. We have the minutes, the meeting summary from the February 25th, 2025. Are there any corrections or additions? I have a motion to approve the meeting summary from February 25th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. Okay. Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items from staff, planning commissioners, or city attorney for discussion and possible action. All right. We don't have any listed, and I don't see anyone coming forward, so we'll move to the last item, and that is, well, I will say that the next regular meeting is Tuesday, April 1st, which is next Tuesday, so we'll do this again next week. And the last item is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote. Motion passes 4-0. We now stand adjourned.